So this is a demo of the cloud scripts, and these scripts can be used to collect JSON from various public clouds, so AWS, Azure, Google. So the way this works is you change into the directory for the cloud provider that you're interested in, and this is meant to be very minimal. So you'll notice there's not much in the folders. The repo is very small, very simple. So if I were to just type the name of the script, so let's do a quick example of data collection. There's one in my history. So I'm specifying, this is Azure, I'm specifying a resource group, and the script runs, and you get to watch the output. This is the JSON that's being collected. At the end, this JSON is gathered into a tar file, so the script can be run multiple times on multiple resource groups, and that data then all goes into a tar file. So this project actually has a second repo, and the reason for this is to keep the first repo, as the collection, as simple as possible, right? So there's not a lot of confusing extras and options. It's just, if you can run the script from the Cloud Shell and collect the JSON, awesome, right? I chose to go with Auto Tools. So this is GNU make file generation and config file generation and stuff. So I should just be able to configure, and it builds everything for my system. It finds Python, it does all the stuff that we need, right? And then I get a nice make file for the various parts of the project. So typically what you'll do is make Python, and this will set up the build environment. I think everything's already installed on mine. And then you just activate the build environment. So now I'm in the Python virtual environment to run my tool chains, my tools. So bringing in the report from the previous steps, the scripts, if you go into report, and you can run the scripts from here too, but I'm gonna, so there's a bunch of data in there, so I can just type make clean, and it removes everything, including the log file. So now I can say, let's just move, I don't remember what this data was, so I'll just back it up, and then finally bring in the data we just did previously. So I'm gonna unxz it. So now if I tar tbf, oops, we should have a bunch of goodies. Okay, so there's all the stuff that we got from Bart Mika's resource group. Looks like we might have some other empty JSON in there as well, but that's okay, we can handle it. And the other thing I can point out is, you can see here, this is how we handle multiple resource groups, right, for Azure, because it puts the name in the JSON so that stuff doesn't get overwritten, right? We can just dump a whole bunch of data in there and then process it the way I'm about to show. So the way it works is you type Python 3 main.py. So what's happening is it takes the JSON data and turns it into a pandas data frame. That's good because we can do all sorts of stuff with that data frame. One of the things I do for now is reporting. So I have some Python in here that dumps the pandas data frame to Markdown, and it makes these really great little tables. Let's see some of these tables. So this one is network interfaces. There's a single resource group. So the cool thing about this is, here's some routes. So what I can do is I hit Control-Shift-V in Visual Studio Code, and then for now I can just cut and paste these into my report. here is the final report. So this is actually a PDF. I think I'd like to make it generate to Google Docs, but it's a pretty good result. And you know, you can fill in some verbiage. I think a lot of this could be automated, right? But here we go. I pasted those markdown tables in here, and probably have to figure out, you know, how to tune this, right? Like what do folks expect to see when we're looking at seeing the table when we're looking at a resource group? But you know, it's a good start. I think there's all kinds of ways to automate this and make it useful. So this PDF report then could go to the customer. Oh, there was one final thing. What I'd like to do is automate these checks as much as possible. But for example, if the reference architecture says, you know, thou shalt do this on your subnet, right? Then you can have these recommendations, and in the GDoc these are clickable. Like you can click and uncheck these, check and uncheck these things. So you could say to the customer, you know, here's this table and I looked through your data, and yeah, you're compliant with this, maybe not with that, let's discuss number 3 and so on. If I could get away with it, you're right, that would all be automated, right? So those checks could be automated at some point in the future. The other thing I think that's interesting is it would be nice to have a way, so these have in the name trust, untrust, management, and so forth. So to be able to determine what type of subnet we're seeing would be helpful, I think, as far as automating some checks and so on. So yeah, pretty good result. And you know, check back in a couple months. We'll have a lot more goodies.